This is a test. Instead of moving the board like I was saying, I took part of the board, I dug into it rather than going too deep and with all these cuts. So now I'll get a hammer and a chisel and a hatchet, and I think you get the idea. I've nicked the plywood in there a little bit, and I've nicked the front one, and that tells me that's level because I know that board's level and this board's level. So next, it's a hammer and a hatchet and a hey. I'm using this guy. He's super old. He's my grandfather on my mom's side. His chisel. I'm using it because it's got a wide face. I want to get as much of the wood out from the bottom as possible. Sometimes you have to resort to other ones. And then once I get enough opening, then I can attack from the side. This is a little shorter, might be a little easier to get some of the beginning stuff going. This is going to take a while, but I am really happy with what I'm seeing. I think it's probably needs a fraction of an inch of more of a pitch, but I think you can see that's pretty flat. Then I'll grind that smooth and seal it. This is what she looks like now. I've chipped out all the main pieces, checked it with a level, and that's all good. But now I'm going to grind it as flat as I can with a high-speed grinding disc, which will again close up the pores of the wood, kind of like that theory of burning the wood. It'll resist moisture more, bugs more, everything else. So that's what I'm going to do next. Actually smell it burning. Just like the other stuff, this is going to take a while, but it's definitely working. Okay, storm is moving in. I've put in my 10 hours for today, but that's what the threshold wound up looking like. Real happy. The board behind it will be removed with the cut marks. So it's nice and level. I'll measure everything again tomorrow. And that's the end of today. No more bending over to get in the cabin. Big day in the neighborhood. Plus cutting this main log, cutting that threshold, that worked out, no mistakes. I think the doorway is high enough. I'm probably going to have to take out about 1.5 inches on this to make it flat for my 2x12s, treated 2x12s like I did the windows in. I'm going to do the door frame in, and then foam them in and do the same thing, sculpt them and cement them. So really happy. Not happy about having to do this, as I have to make sure it's perfectly level, but obviously I have to cut above my head. So I'm going to figure out something to put on each side. I'll probably have to do a lot of that on a ladder, and my knee is getting better. I'm not going to climb any mountains today, but I should be able to do what I got to do. It's just kind of cool to actually see a doorway that I don't hit my head on after all these years. But so this is what the threshold looks like. You know, again, you don't want to make a mistake on your log that is your 15-inch log. One mistake on that, you can't go to Walmart and get a replacement. All right, time to get to work. Hope that's running. So I've screwed the legs of the ladder so they can't go backwards. I screwed this 2x6 in 4 times with 4 screws. And now, like I did with the threshold, so if my saw hits the plastic, it'll make a different sound, and hopefully my hearing will pick up on that, and I should be able to see the white flakes, and that'll help me to actually make a straight cut. And not only do it has to be straight, but because the logs are tapered. These are real logs from the forest. One end's like that, the other end's like that. So it's 79 over there and it's 80 over here. So that has to be high, more taken off over there, less taken off over there. So nothing's easy, especially I still haven't figured out how I'm going to do it. Must be somebody fishing. I'm going to fire up the chainsaw one more time. Just getting that half. And again, the plastic worked. The minute I heard that chipping noise, I knew I was too high and you stop. But holding the chainsaw up above your head and trying to keep it level and still push, I've only got one more run left in me. So, I hope. Okay, I gotta remember this is here. Let's see. All right. It's going good though. I mean, this is basically flat, and it's on both markers. So I'm happy about that. And of course, I told you we have 2 speeds up here with temperature. It's either freaking hot or freaking cold. And today it's hot, so it makes it harder for me to breathe. But if I can get through this, maybe I can frame it out today. Okay. I'm gonna have to sharpen the saw again. I can tell it's dulled out. And obviously this side, I have to cut thicker and deeper. That was the narrow side. This is the wide side. So hopefully I'll get that notched out. Okay. All I can say is it's about 2 or 3 hours later. My arms are ready to fall off, but I got the top cut flat across at the right height. They're both 81 inches on each side. Now I'm going to start to try to actually frame it in with the 2x12s womanized that match the windows. This is let's see through those things. These are pressure treated 2x12s, like I said earlier. They match what I did for all the windows. This is a little harder than the window. Cutting above my head. So I think I had the camera on about 4 hours ago. So I think the frame is in place, and I think the frame's in place, and I think it's going to be square. I'm using heavy-duty screws, timber locks, 8-inch coated, weather-resistant, nut drive head. Should hold up real well. Then I'll do the same thing I did on everything else. I'll foam in here, and I'll make curves going out to the side to get rid of any right angles. Right now I'm ready to collapse. It's been muggy all day, and it's not like I do this type of work every day. It's got to be square, so it's a real pain in the ass. But I really like it. I got to trim off those shims, and I'll probably put some foam on it. Ah, crap. Whew. The sun is setting in the west. I'm doing the great stuff in all these seams and contouring them so everything will match and everything will be, like I say, no right angles. Part of the art project. And part of the and probably have to go back and shoot it again, but I'm really glad I'm getting this sealed before winter, even if I don't finish it up. All right, I think you can see the great stuff in every joint. Later I'll shape that. I did the same on the inside. It's going on 7 o'clock. I'm heading back before dark. My engine's acting kind of squirrely. I don't want to get caught in the total blackness with no motor. All right, looking good. Glad I got that done. I swear this is the hardest part of the job, filming. So it's the second to last day. Yesterday, the little boat I get from the guys at Normandy, Kevin and Dustin, Jenny, the motor, I was hearing metal noises flying around. You're so used to the sound of an engine after you are in a little boat like that with no other noises that you could tell when something's going wrong. And of course it happened when I'm already out to the island. So I had two choices: try to get it back to Normandy, just 12 miles, 10 or 12 miles, depending on what route you take, or just 3 miles to the barn. So luckily, I had a moment of enlightenment and I went to the barn. And I didn't make it to the barn. The reverse gear blew up. It won't go in neutral, it wouldn't go in reverse. The engine stopped. And again, I probably could have forced it to go if I got it going again, but then you're just destroying their motor, and I like those guys. So after a grueling day of putting this all up, which I'm real happy about, this is really nice door jamb. All done with 8-inch screws going back into the lugs. It's all foamed. It's the right measurement. It's even. It's level. So in that regard, I was really happy. But to do that, I had to cut above my head with the chainsaw for at least the better part of a half an hour or an hour, and then chisel out all that to make it flush. So imagine putting your hands above your head and then putting up this first header. This stuff is thick and it's heavy. So I didn't want to have to paddle a rowboat full of stuff a couple hundred yards against the wind when the motor finally failed. But I did it. It's fine. I'm back. I'm happy. Today what I want to try and do that I wasn't going to do is I actually want to try to, if you can see me, I got a pretty good punch. This is already set up. And that's what I mean about having this stuff as you're chinking. This isn't going anywhere, but I shape it and cement it so it'll match all the windows on the inside and outside. So real happy about that. So what I have to do though is find out if it had time to cure between yesterday and today, and I'll know that in a second. If it did, I'm going to really quickly do this, tape it off like I do to get the design, and cement it. I actually have some cement stashed from the first trip this spring. All right, it's going to fly. Nice. Yeah, nice. Obviously, I become a lot faster with my personally made high-tech tool um, than I ever was with all the other crap. Um, so I should be able to knock that out this morning and then start loading up. One more thing I forgot to mention. Last night back at Normandy's actually a hunting and fishing lodge. It's not, it's a hunting and fishing lodge. And the guys got a bear so big last night, or late evening on Monday, that the new scale that Dustin and Kevin got, which goes up to 500 pounds, the bear apparently broke it. I've actually got a picture of the needle going over the 500 mark, way over here. They don't know exactly how big the bear is now. I'm sure they found out by today. But to say it's 550 would be conservative. And that is one giant bear. That's Refrigerator Perry from the Bears. And that's adding, I believe, 150 pounds onto him. So you can imagine the size of this bear. And then a really nice thing on the way too, today on Old Paint Road, a beautiful wolf passed about 100 feet right in front of me, across the big gravel road to the up to the mines. So a good animal weekend, depending on how you look at it. Big bear. They got another small one, but that is that's one hell of a bear. I'd say it cured up real well. Happy about that. Trying to beat the sun. Okay, this is, I want to get a taper on this foam so it sheds the rain right off of the top. So I have to go to tool number 2. One thing I don't have to worry about, the great stuff cured really nice. As you can tell, that insulation isn't going anywhere, especially once it's coated with the concrete. All right, nice. Right. The whole outside edge of that door jamb is going to be coated with the concrete as well. I'm going to give you a little bit better example of just how strong this this great stuff concept is. This is a standard hatchet. It's just, I mean, that's something I don't think your regular installation is ever going to be attacked by. Just shows you how well that stuff gets in there. And I don't know if you can see this or not, but okay. And that's how solid it is, forming those close cell insulation pockets, however you want to say it. Real happy. Gotta go though. I'm kind of moving quickly. I got everything taped. This is my stash of cement from 3 months ago. And I was lucky enough, I sealed it as quickly as I mixed it in these, I think that's enough to start with. In these Tupperware containers. Which probably sounds goofy, but in reality, it made such a good seal that this super expensive cement I'm able to use it again. I'm actually going to take the other 2 tubs I have that I made at the same time home with me, keep them at room temperature, not let them freeze, in other words. And I'm willing to bet I can use those next spring for touch-up instead of buying a whole new big tub of really expensive material. So I'm going to start putting the concrete on the cabin, around the door jamb, and on the door jamb. I got out here early because you don't want to put this on when the sun's been baking everything for hours. It'll dry the material out too quickly. It'll pretty much destroy a brand new brush doing this once, but it's worth it to really know you're working it in and it's being absorbed. All right. And I'll go back, I'll touch it up later when I pull the tape off, or right before I pull the tape off. If there's any defects, that's the time you make those corrections. This is looking good. Filling in the divots pretty well. Nice. All right. Don't think you guys need to watch me do that 1,000 times. So, all the sculpting, all the taping, all the cementing, to get that shape that matches everything on these windows inside and out of the cabin. Sorry. And all the logs is done. But since this is the main door jamb, I'm going to leave the tape on. I'm going to do one more coat. The cement I saved from the spring in the Tupperware containers, that was a good idea. The excess, it stayed perfectly fresh Went on great. I've got another tub of it, so I'm just going to take the time tomorrow morning and give it another coat, and then pull off the tape. Or maybe tonight at the end of the day, give it another coat. Just to be extra sure I got everything. And that's the exposed part. I still have to shape, tape, and cement the inside of the door. But I could do that anytime. I could do that when it's crappy out in the spring when I'm here, because it's inside. So it's August 16th. This is my second to last day. That's why I wanted to get this done and get this work here done before I button up the cabin for this year. I may come back, I may not. I've just got a lot of, thank God I've got a lot of events I have to do that involve a lot of public appearances. And I have to speak at them. I can't have somebody else do it for me. And then I've got a couple art shows and a fundraiser and another fundraiser and another fundraiser. So I don't think I'm going to be able to come back. I made 4 trips this year. Kind of happy with what got done. I got all the material in the cabin to redo the floor. I leveled the damaged part of the floor from that big timber, huge log crashing from the top and smashing into one section of it. That's all repaired. Everything's leveled. The harbor's rebuilt where the pontoon gets pulled out. Got a door for the shed. So I'm sure I'm missing something. Gail and I worked on the trails and just busted our ass. 2 years of storms, big storms, bad storms, just put things all over the trail. You can imagine trying to take care of a trail in your property if it's a couple acres. Well, if it's a couple of miles, the trail, you can imagine in a major storm what's going to happen in the middle of an untouched forest. So we didn't even get it all cleared. Some of the remaining logs are too big for me to handle, rolling them out of the way. I like doing that when Gail's up or with equipment. I'm not going to kill myself to get the last 2 or 3 big 20-inch diameter logs done. Instead today, I'm going to do what I really like to do. Take a compass, take my map, and I'm going to make a new connecting trail from the existing trail, bypassing Bear Mound and some of the parts on my trail that I don't think a lot of people can deal with. It's too dangerous for them to climb. Not that it's that crazy, but it's not easy. And none of my friends are getting younger, including me. So I am going to take a shipment of stuff out of here, back to the truck, pack that, come back, go to the other side of the island, and start, there's no way to get around it. I've got to walk in about 3/4 of a mile, and then to pick up the turn that goes to Bear Mound, and that all goes uphill. Like I said, we have 100-foot elevations here on the island. I want to pick it up where it's low, and I'm going to use my compass and my map, which I really like doing, old school, and I'm going to tape a new trail and heavily tape it. And that'll probably be, conservatively, I guess it would be a half mile. Might only be 1/3 of a mile. And then, like I said, next time, when I'm more energetic, early in the spring, when I can see more in the forest, I'll start working that connecting trail. Then I can see, it's so thick in these forests, it's why they call it the bush, that it's really hard to see the best route to take to make a trail. You literally have to stop where you started, where your markers are hanging, and make sure that you can clearly see that. Then you go out to the right, straight ahead, to the left, and you try to figure out what's the best new or next 100 feet of the trail. And then you mark that, and then you connect the two. It's that thick, but in the spring, I can see a lot further into the forest. So if I've made any things I want to change, that's the time to change it. I'll try to get here early in May, or not early, but by the 20th. And the forest is still down a little bit, all the deciduous, all the leaf-bearing trees, they're down. You know, they don't have any leaves on them, and the bushes aren't up. So I can get a better idea of how to make a good connecting trail. Then it's something everybody can walk, which is cool. I just got done coating the door for the shed twice, so it'll be weatherproof. Sorry. I don't know how easy it's going to be to get to the shed, but I taped the end that drags on the ground with Gorilla Tape to protect it. And this cord will help me move it to some extent. Okay, all right. Now, okay. I think that'll work. Unfortunately, the shed's another couple 100 feet down the trail. So, what I'm doing next, I think you can see this. Hope you can see this. Do this with north on top. Okay, so basically, okay, this is where we're at, all right? There's no connecting trail. The dots mean it's not connected. This is the trail I cut years ago to go up to Bear Mound and back down and connect with the trail. And actually, there's another connection here over here to the water. I'm sorry, over here to the water. I don't know where that last thing ended. So just in case it totally screwed up, what I'm doing is making a new trail to come off of this trail that's almost a mile and a half to 2 miles long. I'm going to be making another trail, and to do that, I don't know if you can see this thing that well in the light. I take a compass, a good compass, got this from Ed Jantry 20 years ago. It's a sight compass. It's absolutely indestructible and really good to use. I know the island, these 3 miles of shoreline. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. I'm trying to mark, just mark with long orange tapes, a new route to cut next spring when there's more visibility in the forest, to see if I pick the right path. I don't want to do it twice. And the other thing I mentioned earlier was there's a lot of bear. I don't know if you can see this in the camera. I would imagine you could. I have honed this to a razor's edge and actually put a tip on it. And that's not for special effects. There's an overabundance of extremely large bears this year. And large bears eat more. Large bears get wounded by guys that are bad hunters. And I don't want to run into one with, I mean, I like my knife. I'm comfortable with my knife, but I would rather have something I could hold. I wear gloves in the forest. I'd rather have something I could hold with 2 hands and actually attack something and have it go in that big and then run. Hope I never have to use it, but it's really stupid not to have something to protect yourself with out here. When you actually see the size of these, when you see the, I don't even know if you can see me, when you see the size of these bears, and you look at their teeth and their claws, and the fact that they can shoot up a tree, you basically have to stand your ground and hope they go away, or if they don't, hope you can put up a good enough fight to get out of this situation. That's it. I am heading to what I consider some of the most fun things I do. One of the most fun things I do, and that's exploring places I have not been yet. There's no way I've been able to see this whole island. It goes up 100 feet in the air in some places, down to water level in other places. There's cedar forests, birch forests. It's just admiring the new door. And obviously that will all have to be foamed out as well, carved and shaped. But that I can do inside in the spring when I come back. I wanted to get that outside exposed part shaped, taped, and cemented, and I did today. So really happy with that. I gotta go because I've got to do this, and then I gotta come back and take a shipment of all the things I brought out this year and get them back on the boat and winterize the little generator so it doesn't screw up again, and a ton of things. So I have to leave. Real happy about what I got done on this trip, especially this. And yesterday I was going to take down the tape, and then I had a second thought and decided why not get 2 coats of concrete on it while I got the tape up. So that's what I'm going to do this morning. Then I'm going to move the new support, this baby, I'm going to move that into the, hopefully, into the cabin without affecting my knee. And then it's time to button up the shed with a new, with that door I was dragging earlier. So that's back by the shed. I'm probably not going to be able to install it properly, but I can screw it to the wall. And then I'm going to try to, I've always wanted to take the camera and start here, and as fast as the boat will go around the whole island and see how long that, figure out how long that is, and to film the shoreline. So that's one of my goals. I'm going to get that guy inside and pound it into place, or the old one pounded into place to put more pressure on the floor where I repaired it, to see if I did a good enough job. So when I come back in the spring, if the floor is still sitting where she is after the weight of all the snow and a year's settling, I'll know what I did worked. It's a good way to test it before just putting down the floor. I could do that next spring, and I think you've already seen this, but all 30 of those are going to be the new floor. So that's what's up. I am going to start cementing. Once you've got the tape up, and you're going to have flaws on the first coat, so you could either leave them or do a second coat, and it will literally fill in all those defects and just make for a better job. So I hope it wasn't too hot yesterday so I can get the tape off at the end of today. Oh yeah. Yeah, it just finds all the little bubbles and tiny holes and little hairline cracks and just fills them right in. So oh yeah. That's going to work out really well. That radio station is the only radio station that will come in, period, in this whole area, unless you're actually in the town of Wawa. All right, so I'm going to knock this out. Again, I'm trying to beat the sun. It'll do a better job. Now for the moment of truth. Did I wait too long or not? I got the second coat on, and I'm going to start pulling off the tape. I'm definitely not going to wait till the second coat of concrete sets up on it. I hope you can see that. Sorry, I had to take a picture of it. All right, that is looking really good. All right, enough of that. I think you, again, get the idea. So, the wood and the log pattern are just like the other ones. So, real happy. It's coming off nice and clean, nice sharp edge. While it's still early, and I haven't damaged myself yet today. I want to move this log, or my new support. I don't want to have it just sit out all winter after sanding it and sealing it twice. Maybe I have any idea what that's for. These ropes are from at home. Some of my retired big boat ropes. All right. Again, the idea is to keep the tail end on the bench as long as I can. Yes. Now, I'm going to move that back a little so I can get more of a run on it before I go off that ledge. I hope this works. Yeah. That's one more problem out of the way. Okay. I want to take off about ½ an inch off this support beam because I raised the impact area on the floor that went down. It's actually near where the center support goes. So I'm going to not use this one next year, but I'm going to pound it in underneath the main beam to force more pressure on the 2 jacks and the support system I built underneath it to help compact soil if any compaction is needed. And then when I go to put the new one in, it'll be much truer to what it should be rather than having to do it again. This isn't bad. I knew I liked this saw. It's a little slow because of the concrete that's wrapped around it. Bingo. All right. Whew. I keep these in a sealed box. That's it for 2022. Last thing I'm going to do is, trying to block the sun, last thing I'm going to do is drive from here. I'm going to put my cell phone down on the seat, set the timer, hit that, and then I'm going to drive around the entire island at 50 feet offshore. That's the safe route. And see just how long it takes to get around the island at the way the boat's loaded up. I don't think I can do more than 10 miles an hour. But just to get an idea and to show people what the shoreline looks like. All right, I'm real happy with what got done. Everything from finishing the trim on the windows inside, addressing the jacks underneath for the little dip that was caused by the giant log smashing into the floor from the 12th row, making the new support pole is twice as wide and a lot more character. Cutting in or taping off the new connection trail that eliminates climbing up to Bear Mound. I'm doing the door jamb in 2x12s, just like the windows, and then foaming them, shaping them, and cementing them, and they're done. And now I have the exact dimensions of what I need to make a custom door. The door I revamped is it's just too big. It's too big for a cabin this size. So that's what's up. See you next year.